The post karma was on average 40 times larger than the comment karma. So inflammatory posts seem to have been the weapon of choice. That being said, even though the comments seem to appear less influential, let's take a moment and try to analyze them to understand the cumulative effect that they did have on the conversation.
I'm on the phone with John from the Oxford Internet Institute, and he's been researching misinformation on Reddit, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about what he sees in the data. So you have a report in Robotrolling, which is the magazine NATO's Strategic Communications Center makes quarterly about online disinformation. You've got a graph down here that I was hoping you could explain to us.
Sure, I'll give it a try. So this was looking at what happens to the Reddit conversations after some manipulation. So as you've got a Reddit thread sort of ticking along over time, you think of this left to right in each of those graphs. You know, another comment, another comment, another comment. And then in the middle, on the red dotted line, we have when a fake account, a Russian IRA troll account, has made a comment. They've injected something into this thread. And then what we have is the baseline, which is tracking along at 0, is essentially a control thread. So another thread that hasn't been manipulated. And then what we see in each of the 3 lines is how the manipulated conversation diverged. So what happened? Where was the change?
Cognitive complexity, what does that mean?
So a higher cognitive complexity score and acceptance that multiple viewpoints can be true, even if they're in opposition, whereas a low complexity score is singular, very single-minded. You know, I'm right, and there's nothing else that could possibly be true.
Okay, an identity attack, I assume that means like people start attacking each other based on who they are, like gender, religion, things of that nature?
Yeah, exactly. Attacking somebody because of their identity. So a higher toxicity score suggests that it is more aggressive, more confrontational, and it's more likely to lead the recipient of the message to leave the conversation. And this is what I think is really interesting, is that we see in all 3 of these measures, the conversations did change. So they became, on the left-hand graph, they became less diverse in the number of opinions. They became more polarized, single viewpoints. In the middle, there was a sort of a short spike in the number of identity attacks, although this did return to baseline afterwards. And then on the right, we see a sort of sustained rise in the level of toxicity in the conversation.
So this is just one comment that was able to make the entire conversation diverge. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Yes, so this is just at the one comment level. So one individual comment did create a measurable change in the nature of the conversation. So the magnitude of this change is small, but measurable. But if you scale this up to thousands of comments over the whole platform, then suddenly that starts to have a bigger impact.
Wow. It's right, like this is data. This is pretty clear.
If you can make a conversation into a 2-sided thing instead of a 3-sided or 4-sided, whoever-sided thing, it becomes much easier to control it, right? If there's 2 very clearly opposing points of views, black and white, now it's easier to control the narrative because people get locked into one of those points of views or the other.
Using this same data provided by Reddit, Jeremy and the iDrama Lab team were able to create a report with fascinating implications. This graph shows weekly troll activity plotted over many years. This yellow line is what we're interested in because it's Russian troll activity on Reddit.